All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to our SAP Business One Tips and Tricks coffee break. Today I have Simon Lamothe with us, who is a consultant at Forgestik, and he's going to go over the payment wizard. So welcome, Simon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can I start?
You can.
Perfect. So today we'll go through the purchase process. So it's at the end of the purchasing process. It's where we're creating the payments for the incoming payment, outgoing payment, sorry, using the payment wizard. So instead of doing individual outgoing payments, the payment wizard allows us to do by batches. So what we can do is select multiple suppliers, multiple AP invoices, and the system will generate them by batches. So we'll go through the standard configurations, which are the banks, the business partners, the payment methods, and we'll see here how it all links in with the EFT, which is basically a file that you upload on your bank's portals that will automatically do the fund transfers with your bank. So let's jump in right away in SAP. So first we'll go through the configurations. The main configuration for outgoing payments and payment wizard will be in the, let me change the language here. It'll be easier for everyone. So in administration and setup, firstly, we'll look into the banking options, payment methods. So at payment methods here, these are the methods that we assign first our banks. So your house bank, whether it's in Canadian or US dollars, how you want to pay suppliers, and your payment type. So today we're going to look at out. So if we create a new one, we can actually look at current ones. So here we see for EFT, you have your payment type, which is outgoing, and also a payment means. Payment means will be a bank transfer. This can also be, let's say we create a new one, we can also have check or bank transfer. And then the GL account that's assigned to this payment method will be assigned to the bank you apply. So if we go to a previous one, the Royal Bank here, if we look into our account, which is the 145, first one here, the bank account that's applied here is this one, which is, I think, the checking, the cash out bank checking. So once the payment method is set up, we have to apply it to the business partners. So if we jump to our business partners, and we'll do a supplier search here. We'll take any random supplier. Two tabs here that we have to configure. First, if it's going to be EFT, anything that we need to automate, we need the your supplier's information. So you need the bank, the account. Here there's a little dot that you can apply. So whatever you configured as your banks that you can apply, put in the account information, branch information, and this information we'll use in the file upload. Next will be the payment run. Here you apply the house bank account for this particular supplier, but also what's important is you include and set as default the main payment method for your supplier. The idea here is that by default, like most of the information in your business partner, when you do generate AP invoices, the AP invoice will configure itself with what you've set by default in the partner. Example, if we go into the AP, check an AP invoice here, we'll, here we go, actually, shows all our APs. We look at our more recent AP. This is a test environment, so a lot of this information is old. So we'll go here, the AP invoice. How do you know which payment method has been applied? You go to the individual AP invoice here, and the accounting and the payment method is blank. Why? Is because there's no payment method in this environment has been included or has been set by default. Once the payment method is selected and you go through the selection criteria, it will filter through these configurations. First, it will filter through dates, business partners, and AP invoices with specific payment methods. So bear in mind, these configurations are essential to start using the payment wizard. So now, once we have our 3 configurations done, then we can start using the payment method. Today, what we'll go through is 2 scenarios with the payment method. One will be a regular run, a regular cycle, and the other will be a simulation kind of. So a simulation where a user will generate a payment cycle, but will want a supervisor to approve. There is no authority or access for payment wizard. So basically, once you have access to payment wizard, you can generate outgoing payments. So I would say internally, if you have a process, you would say only specific users are allowed to generate a payment run. So here in banking, payment wizard, you have your main, we'll go next. You have a start new payment run or a load. Load is where you can see the simulations, we'll go see later, and also the ones that we've already executed. So here we can start a new payment run. Today we'll go through outgoing. So on outgoing, and you can select either bank transfer or check. So we can go through check. EFT will be a bank transfer. Today what we'll do is a check. When you do generate a check, what it will do is it will automatically generate a check for payment here. And if you have 2 suppliers, it will generate 2 checks for payment. So first you can identify. So this is automatically generated by SAP. So you have the date. What you can do is put your user initials, whatever, how you decide in your internal procedure. And this payment date, run date here is applied to your due date, payment due date. Meaning that every single check or every single outgoing payment generated this will be applied to the file or the transaction it states. So you can apply a future date, meaning that if you have holidays, you can prepare these files ahead of time, and you can upload it to your bank, and they will run the transfer of funds at that particular date. So it's perfect for Christmas, holidays, or even if you need approval, you can generate ahead of time. And then the supervisor, when he does have time to run it, he will be able to send it to the bank at the appropriate time. Next up is any numbering series. If you have specific numbering series for outgoing payments for the payment wizard, you can generate them in your admin here. And you can also apply a minimum amount. Generally, we don't do that. What we suggest is the top part here. We have a question, Tracy. Would you like me to complete the material and we go Q&A afterwards?
A sec. Yes, I do. So Eddie's asking, set up Business One partners for US ACH payment. Eddie, do you want me to just, here, I'll ask your question. Just a second. Did I unmute you? Can you speak, Eddie?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't finish. I just hit enter. I supposed to have a full question. When I set up the US ACH payment, the bank information is different from Canadian bank information. Canadian bank, they can provide us the bank number, branch number, and account number. But the US bank information is different. They provide us with they don't have the bank number and the branch number. So how we can set up in our system?
For the ACH, it all depends on. Generally, for the ACH, I generate a custom SQL report that goes through like similar to EFT that generates a file. For any configuration, if it's standard SAP, you'll have to use here. Let me just grab a supplier. If you go to payment terms in the business partner, the standard, generally what we grab is the BIC, the branch, and the account number. That's what's usually used for US.
But they don't have the branch number though. Yes, they can provide a switch code and account number, but normally when I ask them the branch number, they don't have it.
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends the ACH file for standard SAP. So when you generate through a payment wizard the file, try for a US. Either you switch BIC, you put the BIC or SWIFT in the branch. Sometimes what they did is they linked, whether it's US or Canadian, they linked all the information for a specific field.
Okay.
So I would test that out. Is it because that you did a ACH file and you sent it to the bank and it was incorrect?
Yes, I tried to send it. They always reject. They said, "Oh, there's nothing there."
Okay.
So they cannot. So I have to do the wire transfer and.
I know for previous clients, I've done a custom ACH file that works. I don't know if the standard ACH one for SAP works.
Oh, okay. So which means I need to special request, provide you all the detailed information, and then set up in the system.
What I would do is contact support. So we can do is we can maybe extract. So I don't even know, because if we go to payment methods here, and by default, if we generate a new one, let's say we generate a new one, add, and it's a bank transfer. So we'll do a test ACH.
Yeah.
We'll do a test ACH. So what you did was you, in the file format, you assigned a there is in there. So did you apply a ACH one?
Yeah, we have ACH in our system. Yes.
Okay. So is it someone from Forgestik that implemented for you?
Yeah. So we set up one. They set up one for us already. So it's test okay. But when I create my own, it doesn't work.
But that's it, Eddie. Like, was it someone from Forgestik that implemented the first one and then you tried the second and it didn't work? Is that it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There must be something missing on what you did.
No, well, it's assigning the information, right? So it's all mapping. So EFT and ACH is similar, where it maps where you need the information from. So basically, the US, we just need to see what information you need and where you need to fill it out.
Okay, I try to reach out the support again.
Yeah, reach out to support, and worst case, or send something to me, and I'll look into it.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Eddie, when you send your message to support, add in the note the situation in the description of what you're dealing with, and put into parentheses, spoke with Simon Lamothe, so that they could assign Simon your thing, and they'll, it'll pass through the ticket system.
Okay, yeah, I will. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks, Eddie. Simon, I have another question here from Melissa.
Yeah.
My BP master does not have the payment term tabs, just payment run tab, my SAP version 9.3. Do I need to turn it on? Do I need to turn it on somewhere? Also, in my payment methods setup window, under payment means I only have check option, no bank transfer. Do I need to set it up somewhere?
So first things first, here in the business partner, there's no payment terms, only payment run. So that would be, does she have B1 up? It could be something hidden.
Melissa,
So,
you know what? Hang on, Melissa, I'll just open your mic here if you want to ask a question.
It's actually Milena.
Okay.
Yes,
Hi.
I do have B1 up.
okay, maybe they hid for certain users. Generally,
Where
if
can
you
I
have,
check it?
that will be in item placement tools or something in B1 up there where they basically say for certain users hide certain tabs.
Item placement?
I think it's item placement, or it will be maybe a B1 up validation. It won't be standard SAP, so it'll be B1 up that basically says for certain users to hide it. Generally,
Okay.
if you have access to business partners, you will have access to all these tabs. The only reason for you to hide it would be either for access.
I'm a super user, and I don't believe it's ever been used, so I don't think somebody could specifically hide it for me. Again, I'll reach to support just to see.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Melina. Yep, absolutely. Open a ticket with the support desk and specify the problem. And
okay, and the second part of my question was, I only have check option in the setup. I don't have bank transfer. So does this need to be set up somewhere as well?
So in the payment methods here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at all the options you only have check.
Yes.
Or bank. Yeah.
Only check. No bank transfer.
Yeah, for bank transfers, you can just create a new one.
How do I create it? Right there from that window?
Yeah, you can create it. Now, if you want bank transfer, what is the bank transfer for? Is it for EFTs?
Yes, EFT and wires.
Okay, for EFTs, you can create it. Generally, we have a project for EFTs. So you can contact Tracy for that, and we'll give you an estimate for it. Generally, what we do for EFTs, we apply a standard template that we have. We modify it to your bank's needs, and we do a first transaction test in a test environment. And then once that's successful, we apply it to the production. So
you are saying that needs to be custom setup? That's the reason why I only have check, because bank transfers need to be custom setup?
You can create one by yourself, but the custom is the file format here. So the file format will need to create first a new file format, which is here. We'll create a CPA 1464, and then we'll apply a project, which is a crystal report linked with like a mapping SAP add-on that will basically say in your file that you're sending to the bank what information we need and how to place it. Because each bank has like a CSV or a text file, and it has specific length and placement where you need that certain information.
Okay.
You know, Melina, we covered an entire session just on EFTs with Simon. I guess it was last fall. What I'll do is
I'll look it up.
Yeah, if you go on our YouTube page, but I could send you the link if
that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. You want me to send it to you?
Yes, please.
Will do.
That would be great. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Any more questions?
Seems good for now, Simon.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go back to just generating a simple payment wizard. So I think we covered this screen. Now payment wizard here for the run name. So this you can identify, you can leave it as is. What happens is when you generate your outgoing payments or your check for payments, this information here is added to the remarks. So there is a traceability to which payment wizard or payments run was assigned to it or generated. And this is the date. So this is a date you can say as today, or you can do it in the future. Once that is selected, we just go next. And here we can do a business partner selection. So you can select supplier by supplier. You can do by supplier groups. Ideally, what I do is I just do add to list. What that does, it adds every single supplier to it. The payment wizard allows you to go filter through by selection criteria. So adding all of them, it's sometimes quicker and you won't leave out any AP invoice because you're basing it on first dates, your payment methods, and then the system will show you everything you have in your assigned to those. And then you can compare it to your age of accounts. So next, and then here we go to a due date, your due date, and that's the AP invoice due date. So we can say either your cycle run will be today or tomorrow, however you would like it. You can add different tolerant days and all this information, but generally clients always prefer just to do a simple due date. That's how they function as is. So next. And then this is where you would have a list of payment methods. So here, of course, you have outgoing payment checks because from the first selection, we did checks. If it was bank transfers, we would have all our EFT, ACH, the list that we would have. Generally, if you have EFT, you would have EFT per exchange rate. So you'd have EFT US and then EFT Canadian. If you select this outgoing checks, next. So now the system will go through all the AP invoices with that should be paid by check. So you can expand all. We'll open this. So you can expand all, and then this will list all your invoices that needs to be paid. Here, a little box, click on it, unchecks everything. Then you can go one by one. If you want to check everything, you can. And you'll have the outgoing total here at the bottom right. If you uncheck it, go one by one. Let's say we take one, we'll take two today. We'll take this one here and this one up here. At all times, if I have an understanding with my supplier, I've paid ahead of time for a specific AP invoice, I can apply a discount percentage or just apply a new document amount. So I can partially pay a certain AP invoice. If I do next, so I have the total sum here. We do next. So what I'll do is, instead of executing, I'll do a recommendation. So here you can select the criteria only. What it does, it doesn't include the AP invoices that we selected. The recommendation is like a simulation. It basically saves everything we've done so far. It does not create the transaction, it just saves it. So then a person, a supervisor or any other user can come in and finalize it. Generally, the person who runs the cycle is the person who uploads it to the portal of the bank or prints out the checks. All depending on how you proceed in your team. Next, you can execute payment run, and that will generate the transactions and complete the payment wizard. Here we'll just save recommendations as an example. What it does, it has done it successfully. It's always good to see. And then we finish. So we'll go back to this screen next time. So we finish. Once we finish, we can go back into Payment Wizard. Since it's a recommendation, here we can say load saved payment run. So this is the recommendation that we just did. Here the status is recommended. If I don't like it, I can supreme it. I can delete it. I can cancel it. I can also see what I've executed so far. So historically, I have every single payment run I've done. But now I want to approve and execute this. So I can either go to the last step, last step goes to the final stage, or if I want to validate the information, I unclick and I go next. As I go through here, I see that it has saved my recommendation. I cannot modify it at all. Once it's saved, it's all grayed out. So all you can do is basically say, I approve or I don't. If you don't, you delete. And then the person will just restart again. So I have all my suppliers. I have my date, and I have my method of payment. And here again, it shows me my suppliers. So if the recommended AP invoice has been checked, what it generally does is it will also show you all the AP invoice related to your vendor that you have not checked. So once this is approved of the amount and of the dates, I go next, and here I will execute the payment run. Next. Okay, so here at this point, the transaction has been generated. So if we would be in a EFT mode, I could here generate my EFT file with the bank file here. It's important to, if you're 9.3, this button here and all add-on has been directly integrated in your version. If you're below 9.3, you just need to install an add-on, and that's usually included in the EFT project. So once we generated, what we can do is we can print out the documents. We can have all these summaries. So you have summaries by currency, by payment method, bank account, checks, however you like it. This is SAP gives you plenty of options. And if we just minimize this for a second and go for checks for payment, if I see my checks for payment here, I will see 2 payments that I've done. So I have my $91 and I have my $724. So these 2 has been automatically generated from the payment method wizard. This is the same thing that will happen in terms of outgoing payments. So here we see the outgoing payment was automatically generated too. We also see in the journal remarks, we have our payment wizard that was used. So if it's a check, the check and the outgoing payment will be generated. And if it's just a wire transfer, EFT, only outgoing payment will be done. But then the process of generating the byte file we'll have to do manually and then sent to the bank. It's important to state also that once the outgoing payments is done, there is no by batch email sent to your suppliers. Not like your invoices on the sell side. On the buy side, SAP doesn't have that. So we need to complete the process with either, we usually suggest print and delivery, meaning that when you go through your payment process, you'll have maybe 100 to I don't know how many AP invoices. You'll generate maybe 5 to 10 outgoing payments. You don't want to do it by one and send all this information to your suppliers. With print and delivery, you can contact Tracy for that. It's a B1 Up add-on. It will automatically send either every time you create an outgoing payment or at 5 o'clock. It will take your template, create an email, send it to the right contact of your supplier with all the AP invoice attached to it.
Hang on, Simon, I have a question here. How do we print the checks from Smart?
Print checks here, then you'll do through the general process here of there is a printing. Checks.
Document printing, right up.
Yeah, I'm looking for that. There we go.
It's up there.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. So here you can select your checks. Checks for payment. And then you can to be printed.
You good with that, Svart? I think we're good. Okay, thanks, Svart. All is good. All right.
Okay, so that goes through the whole process of Payment Wizard. It's a nifty little tool that that's able to save a lot of time on just generating transactions. And then EFT is generally, especially nowadays, it's important. It's a good tool to have to do the automatic fund transfers. Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah, if we go back to the presentation and
yeah, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead. You've got the Q&A box at the bottom. And just in the meantime, so if anybody has questions on EFT, the electronic fund transfer, send me an email, tracy@forgestik.com. Simon covered, like I said before to Melina, he covered an entire session just on EFT, so I could share you the link with that. And what else could I add on to that? Look, if for those who have questions, you know, on if you're having situations with your current process with the Payment Wizard, you could open a ticket through Autotask or just send an email to them. It's easier through a ticket. It's quicker than just sending an email to support@forgestik.com. But I encourage you to go through the ticket system. It's a lot easier. So do I have any other questions? I do not. So, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot, Simon. Very nice information. And reach out if anybody needs us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Simon. Bye.
Bye.